In this lesson, we'll be creating a friends table and adding a friends to this table. In this search screen, we'll be able to click on users. They'll get a pop-up asking them if they want to add them as friends. And if they can click on confirm, then automatically this user will be added into Supabase. Okay, so first things first, let's create a Supabase table, a new table. So new table, let's call it friends. Let's remove this, confirm. Let's call it user friends ID. And then let's add user ID. It's going to be type UUID, and then also the friends ID. And it's of type UUID. Great. And now let's just create the foreign key relationship. So it's going to be with users table, and it's user ID on user ID. So if an existing user is deleted, then all the rows that are associated to that user will also be deleted. Perfect. So we cascade, and there we go. Save. Great. Now that's done, let's go back to Flutterflow, and first things first, we go to settings, Supabase, and what we need to do is get schema. When we click on this, as you can see now, it's refreshed the Supabase data, and we have now the schema for friends. Great. So let's go to the friends now, or the search page, and let's add this pop-up. So we go on the container, let's add an action, add action. It's going to be a bottom sheet that we're going to show. And then the bottom sheet that we'll take is the bottom sheet confirmation. So just to remind you which one it was, it's this one here. It's just a pop-up. We'll need to change the text and the button, but in general, it's just a simple pop-up with some text and a call to action. Okay, let's go back to the search, and then let's go back to a container. That's all nice, but what we'll have to do, as we just mentioned, is edit some of the fields. So the first thing is the text of the start, add to friends, let's call it, and then the second, the wording on the button will just be confirm. The color that we'll select will be the primary color, and then the call to action is, of course, update the backend table. So add an action, and we need to go to the backend Supabase insert row, and the row is inside the friends table. Let's just add all the fields as always. The first two will already be made automatically, so we don't need to do. What's important is to add the user ID and the friends ID. These are the important parts. The user ID is the authenticated user, and then the friends ID is the friend that we just clicked on. So it's going to be the user list 2 items, and then we need to get row field and the user ID. Perfect. That's the backend updated, and now we do need to add another action just to close, dismiss the bottom sheet. Great. Now we can close all this, and let's just go back to our container, and let's just copy this whole action. Because of course it's all nice here, but as you remember in the search, we have this duplicated twice in case this is filled out or not. So we also need to add this action to this container just here. So let's just open and paste actions. And then in here, we have the same information that we need. We'll just need to update the action because the action might not be totally linked properly. We see that the user ID is fine to the authenticated user, but the friends ID is having some problems. So here we can just update the friends ID. And this is the reason why it's having some problems when we pasted it, is because now it's coming from a different query. And if you remember, we had the child inside the first table, and so this is a second child, so we need to link it again basically. So link it to the get row field and the user ID. Perfect. Let's close this, and now let's test it out. Perfect, let's go to the search. Here we have Bob. Let's confirm, add as friend. And then let's just go back to Supabase, check if this worked. And here he is. So that worked great. That's it for this lesson.